is one of those videos where I look like poop. I have no makeup on. I literally have like my comfiest t-shirt on. It's like 5 p.m. and it's winter here, so it's pitch black, so I just have my lamp. Yeah, not the best setup, but I guess it's better than nothing. I also really wanted to film a video today because I haven't uploaded in like almost 2 weeks. I am busy at the moment, but to be honest, it's just lack of ideas. Like, I don't know what to film. I also have some tuna mayonnaise mini baguettes with me that I will be snacking on. So yeah, obviously today's video is a Q&A. I just feel like I haven't asked you guys, you know, specific questions in quite a while because I haven't uploaded for so long, and like I say, I always want to make sure that I'm answering your questions and like covering topics that you do want to talk about. I know I do Q&As quite a lot, I feel like, compared to like other channels, but I just like them, you know. I also am like still half asleep. I literally woke up like an hour ago. I've been doing nothing all day. I wasn't asleep all day, I just had a nap at like 3 till 4. The first one someone said was, what was the beginning of recovery like for me in terms of like, was I in education? What was my living situation? Did I still go to work, and was I in education still? So I was in education and I did have a part-time job in retail. I took a month off, I think that was all, for my retail job. Like I said, it was only part-time. And yeah, I took a month off just while I kind of, you know, got a little bit of my weight back, kind of sorted myself out a little bit. Obviously it took so much longer than a month, but that's just how much I had off. I don't think I was working many shifts, probably only 1 or 2 a week at that time anyway. I was still in college, but I had been asked by my doctors to leave, so I was supposed to be doing it from home, but I wasn't at that point, you know. I was kind of just focusing on getting better. I still lived here with my dad. I get a lot of questions actually. I live with my dad, and my 2 brothers and my sister live with my mum. There's no like, you know, bad reason. That's just kind of how it worked out. My mum moved away. She moved to London for a couple of years, and then she moved back. And then yeah, kind of my siblings have just kind of like gone to join her. They're still both in college and my sister's still in school, so it's just kind of better for them to be at my mum's because my mum is home more, whereas my dad is usually out for work quite a lot, which is why it looks like I live on my own, but I do not. I am not that accomplished in life. I do not have a 4-bedroom house to myself at the age of 19. Does any 19-year-old? Probably not. So yeah, pretty much everything just kind of stopped for me. And I kind of feel like, you know, that's how it should be, especially if you're physically ill as well. Just because, you know, there's not a lot you can do. That is why I had to drop out of college, was because of my physical health. And that's the same reasons why I couldn't go to work. Like, mentally I could manage work, I was fine, and I could probably manage college too. But, you know, obviously it's just too strenuous, is that a word? On your body when, you know, you've lost a lot of weight because of an eating disorder and you need to be focusing on gaining that weight back. Someone said, during recovery, did I always think about my next meal? I think I pretty much did. I think that's normal. Yeah, I mean, you know, you have an eating disorder. It's basically like an obsession with food. You might not be eating food, but you're probably always thinking about it, let alone, you know, when you're trying to recover. And you're probably quite worried about what your next meal is going to be as well, you know, like you don't want to overwhelm yourself. You're kind of freaking out about it a bit, like, oh, what am I going to have to eat? So yeah, I did. I think my OCD had a lot to play in my recovery, you know. I was just very, not hard on myself, but I was very strict, in the sense that I would kind of freak out if I didn't stick to my meal plan. You know, like if I missed a snack, I'd kind of have to make up for it, that kind of thing, which, you know, I guess kind of was a good thing. But yeah, it gave me a lot of anxiety. Like, it just makes sense, and I wouldn't be surprised if everyone does that. Also, especially at the beginning of my recovery, I wasn't happy eating a lot of fat or a lot of sugar. They were always the 2 things that freaked me out personally, that like I wasn't comfortable eating a lot of. So if I would have like a packet of crisps as a snack, I would be thinking, right, for my lunch I can't have too much fat, because that would have overwhelmed me and possibly triggered myself back into a relapse. But I just kept reminding myself that that was normal, that like with time, I was just very in the moment, I guess, you know, and I think I knew that if I thought about it too much, I would just tell myself that in time, you know, I'll be able to eat more than 1 packet of crisps a day. And now I eat like 20. Someone said that they get this and they asked if I did too. They asked if I get flashbacks from when I struggled in recovery. I actually do. Like, I don't know if I'd call them like proper flashbacks. They're not like very visually detailed, but like emotionally. Sometimes I will just like think, especially at night when I'm laying in bed, I'll just think about like what I used to put my body through, and I'm almost kind of mentally scarred, and I feel really sorry for myself when I look back. Like, not in a pity way, but like I feel so sorry for my body for what I put it through, because when you're going through an eating disorder, you know, you have an illness, like you can't think about what you're doing to your body at the time. All you can think about is, you know, restricting and exercising and just like acting upon all of the negative eating disorder behaviours that your eating disorder wants you to participate in. Yeah, I do feel like quite sorry for myself when I think back, and again, I think that's pretty normal. I kind of just shake myself out of it if I get upset, and I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm fine now. It wasn't my fault back then either. I was ill, like I had an illness. Someone asked how to stop feeling guilty because they're eating more food than they used to before. So I'm guessing you mean you're eating more food in recovery than you used to when you were listening to your eating disorder. Tell yourself that, like, you know, you're in recovery now. You used to listen to your eating disorder. And also, the reasons that you feel bad for eating more is probably your eating disorder. Like, you have an eating disorder, hence why you're eating more. And you're probably feeling bad because your eating disorder is making you feel bad for eating more. Like, eating is something that we all have to do. Like, if not, we will die. So don't ever feel bad for eating. Obviously, it's easier said than done, especially if you have an eating disorder. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of worry that even someone without an eating disorder or someone recovering from an eating disorder would have. But yeah, just keep reminding yourself that you're doing that for a reason. Like, you need to eat, and you need to, I don't know if you need to gain weight or maintain, but either way, you need to like eat more than you were eating when you were restricting, because it's just not good for you to restrict. Your body cannot function properly if you're not feeding it. My mum and my nan used to use the metaphor, is it a metaphor? That, you know, your body is like the car, and you cannot drive a car without giving it petrol or diesel. I feel like believing and accepting something are two different things. So you can believe that you need to eat, but you need to accept that and not let it make you feel bad. And I think just telling yourself that until you don't feel bad anymore, like, train your brain into getting into the habit of accepting and really believing that, you know, you need to eat. Kind of a similar question, I kind of briefly touched on this in the last answer, but someone said, how did I deal with weight gain? It's something that comes naturally in recovery. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, you know, and I believed that I needed to gain weight because, you know, I had doctors telling me and stuff, but I couldn't see how underweight I was. Like, looking back at pictures now, I'm like, oh my goodness, how could I not see that? Like, I really thought I was being reasonable to not believe that I needed to gain weight. But, you know, 18 months and 3 stone later, obviously, I can, you know, accept now. But yeah, I didn't accept it back then that I needed to gain weight, but I just stuck with it because I just, you know, kept reminding myself, expect things to get better, because they will get a hell of a lot better. It's just going to take some time. And body confidence and accepting weight gain, being okay with it, was something that's kind of came last for me. Like I said many a times. So just look forward to that. Let yourself feel kind of, you know, low, a bit like sad about the weight gain. If you're sad about it, that's fine. Just remind yourself that it's normal to feel this way and that it's not going to last forever. Just kind of sit through the storm while it passes, I guess, if you will. I've never actually been asked this question before, and it's one of the few questions that I'm okay to answer regarding like really specific details, like, you know, amounts of calories and like weight and stuff like that, because I don't usually mention that kind of stuff because I know it's triggering, and it's just, I don't see the point of, you know, like, the last thing I would want is for you guys to compare yourself to me. But someone asked how much weight I gained in, like, during my recovery, and am I at my set point. So I'm very happy with where I am now with my weight. You know, I'm eating a normal, not healthy, not healthy at all, but balanced So yeah, I guess healthy, balanced is healthy. You know, I'm just not eating clean, I guess is what I mean. I'm eating healthy but not clean. You know, I'm very happy with where I am now. Yes, I'm at my set point. I'm actually 2 stone heavier than my set point. In the last 18 months, like I mentioned, I have gained 3 stone, which is really good, and I'm so proud of myself. You know, if you would have told me 18 months ago that I was going to gain 3 stone, I would have like jumped out of a bloody window. I would have been like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't do that, I will die. Like, I cannot mentally take that. But now I'm like, because I'm in a completely different mindset, I'm a completely different person mentally and confidence wise. Like, if I was to gain another 3 stone, I would not give a shit. But yeah, I'm actually 2 stone heavier than I was naturally even before I had my eating disorder. But, you know, I'm not eating excess amounts of junk food. That was obviously just natural weight. Someone said they're in recovery, and even though they're eating quite a lot, they always want more food because they're physically stuffed. That's a hard one. Is when you get into those kind of cycles, it's quite hard because it's hard to differentiate between what's real and what's your eating disorder. When you say you're eating a lot, is that 3 meals and 3 snacks a day? Because if it's not, then it's probably not enough, and maybe that's why you're hungry. Again, when you're physically stuffed, if you have been restricting, then your stomach is going to be quite small. Like, you might only eat half a sandwich, but that will fill you up because your body's been used to like starving and to not eating half as much as it should have. If you're restricting when you went through your eating disorder, there's kind of loads of reasons why that could be happening. And obviously I'm not a doctor and I don't know you personally, so I don't know why. But I would just recommend sticking with the 3 meals and 3 snacks a day. Like, it sounds like a really obvious answer, but honestly it helps so much because your body needs routine, and you know, you need to eat enough for your body. If 3 snacks and 3 meals a day sounds quite overwhelming, because it does sound like a lot, and sometimes I even struggle to eat that much now, just stick to those 3 snacks and 3 meals a day, because it will regulate your like diet and your body will get used to that and it will get into the routine. Someone said, do I have any other pets other than my meow? My little Kiki. Yes, I do actually. I've had hamsters since I was 13. I think I'm on my 4th, which, you know, for 6 years is quite good. They all live for about 2.5 years, which is like the longest. I have little Bambi. Can you see his cage? He is 1 year and 2 months old, and like 6 days if you want to be oddly specific. And he's a little Syrian. I had a Syrian called Snuggles, and then I had 2 Robroskis 2.5 years later. They're like tiny little dwarf hamsters. They look like hedgehogs. Oh my god, they're so cute. I want another 2, but I had to separate my last 2 because they ate each other. They were like bloody biting each other. They were called Albie and Coco. Someone said, what's my zodiac sign? I am a Leo. I like love being a Leo, I don't know why. Even though, to be honest, I don't think it suits me very well. Like, I don't think I am my star sign, the description. Like, they're supposed to be really feisty, which, to be honest, I am. Really set in their ways, really bossy, which, to be honest, I am. But they're, like, massive team players, and I'm like, that is not me at all. Like, you should have seen me in school. I was, like, skiving. I skived PE, like, since I was 13. Because I hated teamwork so much. So I kind of am a Leo, but kind of not. But yeah, I just think it's one of the like prettiest star signs because my birthday is the 1st of August. And then I actually really like this question. Someone said, what was my first ever recovery victory? Oh my goodness, I cannot remember at all. But I honestly think just deciding to recover is like the biggest victory ever, because like that's the start of something great. I think just getting so fed up with my eating disorder that I was just like, you know what, like fuck this. Like, I cannot do this anymore, you know, I'm just fed up. I'm very lucky that my mindset was very obvious, you know, very sudden, very, very thorough, so it really did feel like different that time. I wasn't looking too much into the future either, so I wasn't setting myself lots of goals, you know, I was just kind of like, right, let's really stick with this, see where it goes. Because, you know, at the end of the day, if you try, I just got mayonnaise on the end. If you keep trying your hardest, you're gonna succeed or get very close. Like, you're gonna get the closest that you can, and in recovery, because it's so possible. And also, I think starting my recovery Instagram account was a victory as well, because that helped me a lot. Like, it just kind of normalised it a bit, made me feel a bit more normal. Like, I had friends, you know, who were going through the same thing, and it also was something to look forward to. Like, I'm really into, like, you know, keeping a little blog, that kind of thing, and like photography and stuff. So, you know, I may not be like a Zoella when it comes to my photography skills on Instagram, but you know, it just made food fun. Hey, my best friend Anna asked me a question. She said, what are my favourite pizza toppings? That's a very well thought out question, seeing as the background of my on my story where I asked you to ask me questions was a picture of a pizza that I had last night. My favourite pizza toppings, are you ready? No, you're not. Are probably chicken, pineapple, don't at me. Yes, pineapple does belong on pizza because some people like it, some people don't. If it did not belong on pizza, no one would like it at all. When I have a Domino's, I always have half barbecue, ground beef and meatball, and then half chicken, garlic, butter and herbs. So yeah, I prefer the garlicky, the herby and chicken fillings on pizza. So yeah, I think garlic chicken and herbs is my favourite pizza topping. I'm honestly not a massive fan of pizza. Like, I only really like Domino's pizza, and even then I can only eat so much. It's just, I don't get this whole like pizza craze. Like, so many people love pizza. I'm just not a fan of it. I just think it's too doughy, you know? Someone said, what do I do to make myself feel better? I'm guessing, oh, hiccup me. I'm guessing if I'm feeling low or if I'm having like a tough time and stuff. To be honest, I've had a pretty tough time today with my anxiety and stuff and like worries. Like, I've got this scan coming up at the doctor's, I'm worrying about that kind of stuff like that. First of all, I'm very vocal. If you've noticed, I don't shut up. So I like talking to my friends and family. I'm not the kind of person that keeps my stuff inside. Like, I have to let it out. Like, I have word vomit. If it's really bad, I'll ring my mum in case of emergencies, because, you know, my mum knows everything, doesn't she? And I also just kind of, you know, remind myself, I was going to say speak to myself, that sounds a bit weird. I just remind myself, you know, that like, it's normal. I think logically about it, you know, at the end of the day, this isn't gonna be a worry that is gonna be with me forever. Like, it's not the end of the world, you know. I'm still young, I've got so much of my life ahead of me. There's no point wasting this potentially great day on something, you know, like, that's probably small in the grand scheme of things, because all you know is right now. So right now something big might be happening, but in the grand scheme of things it's absolutely tiny and it's not worth worrying about. Okay, I'm going to answer the last 3 questions really quickly. Someone said, what was the hardest thing to get over in recovery? I think it was a bit of everything. To be honest, it was just my fear of food, you know, like, you just develop such an unhealthy habit, like an unhealthy relationship with food and an unhealthy habit of not eating enough, that, you know, you kind of fear food and you start believing that food is like the devil, and that is very hard to overcome because it's like a really negative mindset. But yeah, you know, I managed it. Someone said, during recovery, did I only count calories or sugar? Specific question, but I guess they mean, like, you know, was there any particular food groups or stuff that I really obsessed about? I hope that's what you mean. That's what I'm gonna go with. During my recovery, I didn't count calories. I do not think that's helpful at all. But yeah, sugar and fat, like I mentioned earlier in the video in another answer, was, you know, were like the 2 main things that really freaked me out, that I was like really worried about. This windowsill is really annoying me. Bit too late to change it now. You know, they were the main 2 things that, like, I was very conscious of how much of each of them I was eating, but again, with time that just got so much better. It, like I said, like, that's just a mindset thing. Like, it was all in my head, you know, that mindset of thinking that sugar and fat were like bad, you know, and like more than 1 biscuit a day was like gonna kill you. Last question was, I don't know how to start recovering, what should I do? I think the first step is to honestly speak to someone, because it's just so hard to do it on your own, you know, and that way it's so much more easier to just like go back on yourself and just relapse and like never, you know, want to recover. You can be stuck in quasi-recovery and like in that vicious circle that I was for so many years really easily if no one is like behind you. Yeah, so don't force yourself to do it alone. Don't make yourself feel like you are alone, because you're not. Speak to people, get medical, like professional help if you can, but unfortunately it is pretty hard these days. Also, I would try and find a brief if it's the kind of thing that helps you, as long as you're not going to be too obsessive over it, and it's not going to make your eating disorder worse. I would try and Google meal plans, like I said, roughly 3 snacks and 3 meals a day. Again, it might not be something that you can, you know, dive straight into eating that much straight away, but it's definitely a good place to start. So yeah, I think they're my main 2 pieces of advice. And remind yourself that, you know, like, you do need to recover. Like, you can't stay this ill forever. It's just not fair on you, and things will be so much better if you recover. It's probably looking a lot harder than it actually is to you right now. Like, if you're struggling to, you know, get over that barrier of shouldn't I recover. But yeah, just stick with it and it will get a lot easier. Like I said, it's just a mindset, and you've just got to kind of train your brain and open your eyes a little bit to realise that your eating disorder doesn't have to control you, and that half the thoughts you're getting are just your eating disorder, you know, like lying to you, playing tricks on you almost. They are all of the questions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you. I hope that I gave the right answers if you asked a question. And yeah, sorry I haven't uploaded in so long. I'm a weenie. And I will see you in my next video.